I'm recording a March devotional today on Shingle Landing Prong. As you can see, it's a beautiful setting here. And I'm sort of rushing spring, but it's about 50 degrees and a little breezy, but it's still very comfortable with the sun on my back. So we're going to try this for the Fridays in March. I asked you a question. Have you given up something for Lent? Do we call that practice of folks giving up something they really like during the season of Lent? It's to remind us of the sacrifice of our Savior, Jesus Christ. I've heard about some people who give up chocolate. Some people give up having lunch out during the season of Lent. Other people give up a favorite snack, or maybe they cut back on their shopping spree. Now recently, I had to give up M&M peanuts, and I'm not happy. M&M peanuts have been my favorite candy for over 50 years. Alas, my upper partial plate and my lower partial plate do not like chewing peanuts. And I do not like getting tiny pieces of peanut under my partial plates. It hurts. So I had to give up M&M peanuts. Not for Lent, but because of my gums. I can still eat M&M plain candies, which I've now substituted. Leonard Sweet writes about former Prime Minister of Great Britain, Winston Churchill. He was speaking at a commencement address. After doing a very lengthy introduction, Prime Minister Winston Churchill is reported to have risen from his seat, strode to the podium, and then stared fixedly at his audience of new graduates. He pronounced rather solemnly, "Never give up." Prime Minister Churchill then turned, walked back to his chair, and sat down. As the stunned students momentarily sat in silence, Prime Minister Churchill, with perfect timing, once again rose from his chair, returned to the podium, and again announced, "Never give up." The audience did not utter a squeak as our speaker once again returned to his seat. And sure enough, Prime Minister Churchill returned to the podium again and again and yet again, 5 times, and each time delivered that same single-minded message: never give up. At last, feeling he had exhausted his audience and driven home his point, Prime Minister Winston Churchill himself did give up, returned to his seat, and did not return to the podium anymore. Every graduate in that audience never forgot that speech, never forgot that he or she was never to give up. Have we forgotten that in our relationship with Jesus Christ, God has promised to never give up on us? All the scriptures, Old Testament and New Testament, are a record of how God never, never, never gives up. Adam and Eve disobeyed the very first rule in the garden, but God did not give up on them. Abraham wandered and Sarah laughed, but God never gave up on them. Moses hid and was very afraid, but God did not give up on Moses. David, King David, plotted against Uriah, and again God did not give up on David. Israel fell into pieces, but God never gave up. At one time the disciples all ran away from Jesus, but again God never gave up. As you and I walk through the days of the Lent, let's never give up in our devotion, our dedication, and our commitment to our Savior, Jesus Christ.